Hello everybody, FAI here, or I here, and welcome back to another FAI Tips and Tricks video. And in today's Tips and Tricks video, we will be continuing the Motorsport Manager Ultimate Guide on, Motorsport Manager. Now, I do apologize that there is no sound or anything, as of this video, but, when I was recording the last video, YouTube picked up the music, which sounded pretty generic, and apparently the music is going to be copyrighted by some Italian companies. So unfortunately, I will not have the music on any of these videos and any of the videos going into the future. So realize that the videos will not have the music going forward, but yeah, we are continuing the Black Sea with our first race and everything you need to know on the tips for your first race. Now, the first thing you gotta look at is what is crucial for this race, what's going to be relied on for this race when it comes down to it, which is what we've been improving on. As you can see, we were improving on our engine and, of course, our gearbox a little bit on its reliability. But, we are going to be... Let's look at what is going to be crucial for this race if we're going to do well. Because if we don't use what's crucial on this race, we are not going to be doing very well in the overall scheme of things. Another thing that we're going to look at is, maybe the track layout so we can get an idea of maybe our setup, but that'll be for practice. Fuel burn and tire wear efficiency, I will, talk about later on in in another video that I will have coming up. But in this case, we're just going to be focusing purely on the the race itself. Now, one other thing you gotta look at is tire wear. Obviously, when it comes to sponsors, you may not have a lot of sponsors that come up to you at first, but if you do have any sponsors that come up to you, then great. You're one step ahead. You're kind of one step forward, if you will. But at the end of the day, you may not have sponsors to help you out right now with the payments or anything for this particular race. So you're going to have to go in knowing that you're probably going to lose a little bit of money going forward. Now, you also want to maybe look at upgrading the HQ. Potentially if you can, but this is not something that I would say immediately is necessary. Another thing is, of course, if you have any sponsors, keep an eye on your sponsors, see if there's anything that can help you out. But obviously, like Gender Mobile there, or Mobile there, is not going to help us with our sponsorships or anything because they're not giving us upfront money. And that's something that, at least at the beginning, you might want to look into at first going forward. But anyway, here we go into the first race. First race, of course, is going to be in the Black Sea, at least if you're a part of the European circuit. But, at the end of the day, for your first race, especially when it comes to practice, you want to make sure that you are getting a good setup. You want a setup that can, basically help you out with decent positioning stuff. And this could be something that might or might not be easy. Now, at first you want to choose like your two best feedback drivers. Choose your drivers that are going to give you the best feedback. This will help you in the long term or the long run of races to get your knowledge and stuff. Your active knowledge and stuff for the race day, or qualifying, depending on, what circuit you're in. You may have qualifying, but if you're a part of the European circuit, you're not going to have qualifying. It's just going to be practice and then race day. So that'll make it a little quicker on your end. But one thing I would suggest to get is try to gain as much knowledge as you can for the particular race. When it comes to setups and stuff, I mean, just kind of take a guess based on what the mechanic's recommendation is, and try to do your best to get it to excellent. If you can't get it to excellent, then don't worry about it. When it comes to setups in general, you may see the load setup, and honestly, I found that the load setup is basically a bunch of jokes. It's just a joke. It's not even necessary. You don't have to save your setup or anything like that. You don't have to reload your setup because the car is so dramatically different every year. There's no guarantee that one setup that you may have found or have on one year may work on another year. So, don't worry about like a setup or saving the setup or anything like that. Just focus on trying to get it as best as you can correct during your practice run. If you have qualifying, you can still work on it a little bit during qualifying, but at the end of the day, it's not something that necessarily is going to help or hurt you. So, of course, look at the track and try to guess, based on the track layout, how the setup may work for you. But at the end of the day, my best bet, or your best bet, would be to work towards, just doing whatever you think is best on the mechanic's recommendation. Because as you send your drivers out, during the race, you'll get better knowledge. You'll get a better idea of where your mechanics recommend the setup should be, and because they will recommend based on where how your drivers are feeling on the feedback and stuff, you can basically determine and get yourself into a better position overall with the overall just placement of the step. Now, once the race starts, just send your drivers out immediately. Look at the weather if you need to determine if you should change your tires. In this case, for me, it's a little bit wet, as you can see, so I decided to send my drivers out on the intermediate tires. But once you send out your drivers, at this point, it's now just watching to see how things go and adjusting as you feel necessary or need to. Once you've adjusted as you see necessary or need to, it'll become easier to determine where your setup is. Now, as it is, this is a pre-recorded race, so some of the stuff that I knew in this race, some of the stuff that I was doing in this race, it doesn't apply to what knowledge I know now. So in this case, I would just say get a feel out for your first race and determine your strategy. Get an idea of what your strategy is going to be, because I'm going to talk about all the other things like the heat bar, the tire management bar, the strategy management bar, and even like when you need to go into pit lane or whatever, on a separate video. So you don't have to worry about like learning about the pit lane and stuff, the heat bar, or even just like the tires and stuff. Just for now, worry about like focusing on the setup, getting your setup to perfect or excellent in this case, and then also get an idea of the race strategy. Now, like I said, this is a predetermined race. This was already pre-recorded, so at the end of the day, by the time I'm recording this, I've actually got a lot more knowledge that I want to give you compared to what I had when I was doing this race now. But one thing is keep an eye on the weather to determine where you need to come in or go out. And one other thing I would recommend is after you complete one lap, aka one time around the lap, I would recommend bringing in both your drivers just to adjust where you need to see fit, because at the end of the day, you should be able to get 3 timed laps together and 3 setup adjustments. And this is just based on the European circuit alone. This is not based on, like, for instance, doing the doing the, of course, like, doing like the setup on, on a timed lap, like the World Motorsport Management or something like that. Like I said, this is all built around the again, like I said, the actual the actual the actual way that you determine things. Now, like I said, or the actual European circuit. So, like I said, you gotta realize that, as I said before, this is a predetermined race. This is a pre-recorded thing. So by the time I'm actually adding this commentary, a lot of my knowledge that I've known, and a lot of the things that I will tell you in another video coming in the future, is actually dramatically different than what I knew when I was doing this. So, again, when it comes down to it, just adjust where you need to adjust based on the mechanic feedback as well as what your drivers are telling you, and you should be able to get yourself into a better position. But for the most part, like I said, this is a predetermined race, so, don't accept this as like concrete way of managing your drivers and stuff. In fact, I would say that the way I managed my drivers here with the knowledge that I know now was exactly the wrong way to manage your drivers. So, while it may seem like I know what I'm doing here, I probably don't, because again, I didn't know too much about the strategy. I didn't know too much about like the tire, how the tires react, how the course reacts based on how you drive and whatnot. So, again, build up your knowledge and, do what you can based around that. And then, come race day, you should be able to get yourself into a overall better position. You should be able to, get yourself into being able to handle the race with some strategy in mind. Now, again, like I said before, this is completely built around like how you react, how things go for you, and once you know how things will handle for you, you should be able to technically get yourself into the into a better situation, into a better place, and just in general get yourself into being better overall. Now, in this case, like it is, we didn't get the strategy just right. You could adjust where you see fit if you wanted to, but again, by adjusting where you see fit, if you want to on race day, you may have it to where the driver is a little unsure about how you changed the car. So it would be better for you to get the setup right the first time based on how you how you play, how you got it, how you were determining things during practice. During qualifying, I mean, yes, your driver will be a little unsure of the setup, but they may actually be better off just with the with you adjusting your setup just a little more and trying to basically perfect it. So, at the end of the day, it's up to you if you want to make adjustments during race day. But again, it could make it to where your drivers are a little unsure of how the setup will work and what's going to happen when they use it during race day. So, just remember that race day is going to be a little bit of a challenge if you do adjust their setup at the end because you didn't get it right or anything. But anyway, during race day, I mean, like I said, take this as a determination of how to build your strategy. Again, I have a lot more knowledge and things to say on a future video that will be appearing fairly soon. So don't accept the way I've managed things in this race to be actually a concrete way of managing your race, but a few guidelines during your first race is to just work towards the strategy, get an idea of how your drivers are reacting, get an understanding of being able to be aware of what's going on, how the pit stops are working, who's ahead, who's behind, and don't worry too much about getting your first race into high position. A lot of drivers and a lot of managers, when they first play this game, the first thing they do, especially if they are on create team, or let's just say you chose to be on Predator Racing, or you chose to use Predator Racing, which is one of the lowest tier groups in the European racing circuit. Well, if that was the case and you chose to be one of the lowest tier units on European racing circuit, don't expect yourself to get results immediately. Results are not going to happen immediately. Results are bound to be slow. They're going to be a little tedious. Things are going to take a little bit of time. And depending on how you've been playing, how you've been working, how you've been, developing the team, how you've been, managing every overall race, will also determine what is going to happen. Are you a team that has gone aggressive on getting all your parts up to spec, getting the best performance out there, and getting yourself, out there as a high aggressive, getting out there for results team? Or did you take time to really build up the reliability of your car, build up the reliability of your parts, so that you don't have to go in too often for repairs? And again, if you were one of those teams that went full out on performance, and just performance alone, you may end up with having it to where your team is basically, your team is basically going to not have very good reliability. They may not have very much in the way of, doing, not going in for repairs and stuff. And that's something that you gotta remember, is that if you are a team that went fully for performance and fully are looking to climb the ranks very, very quickly without any regard for reliability or anything like that, then, your team and your pit crew is going to have to work really hard to keep your car up to spec. And that's another thing we'll talk about later on in a future video, is reliability versus performance. But, just remember that if your car is not very reliable, you're going to have to go in for a lot of repairs. You're going to have to, take the time to go in for repairs, and, you may not perform very well the first few seasons. But, it's up to you to determine which path you're going to take. I'm not here to tell you which path is the right path to take, because, there are many ways that you can manage your team. Managing your team, of course, is up to you completely. It's down to you to really make, the choices that you need to make right off the bat, and, whatever those choices are, you can, perform to make it for the best of your team. If you're not making it for the best of your team, then, you may have to relook at things and maybe redetermine what's going on, what's happening. But, at the end of the day, just take your first race as a testing ground. You don't have to be out there to perform and make major, oh, okay, this is the way I should do things. This is how I should react when I see these choices and whatnot. This is how I should play overall. That's not what you should do. You should look at it as, what can I do to, make myself better? What should I make decision-wise? How should I strategize myself? Because, again, this first season is really what I would say is the lenient season. It's the season where you can, take your time to really get an idea of what you should do, and, predetermine your strategy. Make yourself, an overall better strategist when it comes to executing things, because, again, maybe you will get a good run. Maybe you will be able to make yourself in the standings where like you get like 9th place, you get like 8th place. But again, at the end of the day, it all is built around how you as a manager can strategize your first race. So this first race is really just the trial run. It's really just an idea to help you maybe predetermine and get an idea of what you should do, what you could do, and go from there. Don't expect like huge results immediately, but also don't expect to be like that person that is going to see see major changes overall or dramatic results right now. Because it will take you a few seasons. Anyway, with that being said, yeah, we're probably going to now skip ahead, or I'll meet you all back at near or at the end of the race. So yeah, enjoy this little bit of the preview of the race that I was doing at the time, and I will meet you back near the end of the race where we'll wrap up a little bit. Alright, so here we are at the end of the race, and as you can see, the results of the race were not particularly ideal for us, but, we did execute the strategy that we wanted to, at least for this particular race. And anyway, like I said, with the trials, or the first race, everything you need to know about your first race is just take it as a trial. Again, I do have some tips and stuff to talk about during the race that can help you with your strategy and executing the best you can. But that's for another video. In this particular race, don't expect great results right off the bat. Even if you are one of the top teams, take your first race as a bit of a trial to really understand or get a better idea of what you are doing. Because, again, you could choose the top tier team in any of course what you call it, any of course division, any of course GT circuit, the endurance circuit, or whatever, and you still may not even have a clue of what you're doing on your first race. So just remember that there are some things that you can learn from me on my next video to really help you with, predetermining your next move, your, what you can do going forward, and how you can continue to really perform at the best you can. But, don't expect it to be something that will just give you the best advantage you've got in a way. Remember that at the end of the day, it's up to you to really make a choice on how you going forward, how things work going forward, how do you, proceed with what you're doing, how do you continue to grow, how do you continue to make yourself better overall. And, with that being said, you can then, go from there. You can then kind of take what you've got and kind of determine like, oh, okay, I can do this, I can do that. And once you've kind of determined that, then it becomes an easier thing. It becomes somewhat easier to manage. And once you've done that, I mean, like I said, it's pretty much up to you. Everything will probably go your way and eventually. And you've got to just remember that your first race is your trial. It's just a way of you going about your first race, determining if you can figure out the strategy, and a strategy that works not only for you but for the drivers, as well as your everyone on the team to perform at the best of their ability, the best of their knowledge, the best of what you've got. But anyway, that is pretty much it for me on this everything you need to know about your first race tips and tricks video on the Ultimate Guide for Motorsport Manager. We will continue with some more tips and tricks going forward very soon, or as soon as I can get out the next video. But with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. And yeah, if you liked this video or if you enjoyed this video, you probably saw some plugins saying to like, subscribe, and follow the Twitch channel. If we can get this video to 10 likes, that'd be amazing. But with that being said, yeah, I am live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/FA_UIE. I am live on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday for sure. For about 2 to 3 hours until we start getting more interest or start generating more interest into the channel. But yeah, with that being said, hopefully this video has helped you with becoming better at just in general, just becoming better at managing in Motorsport Manager, and just being better overall with Motorsport Manager. Remember, like I said, just to wrap up, that the first race is just your testing ground. It's really where you're going to determine, are you able to create a strategy? Are you able to execute your strategy? And if you are able to execute your strategy or create your strategy, then what's next? How do you proceed going forward? And what do you do proceeding going forward? If you are still having trouble with managing for strategy and stuff, don't worry. There will be a video coming up very soon talking about the future, and of course talking about what you can do to help execute your strategy a little better, especially during race day. But with that being said, I will also be talking about part development, financial stuff, and all that other jazz in a future video, of course, as well. But don't worry, those will be coming very, very soon. But with that being said, like I said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching today's video. Thank you for being here. I hope to see you live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/FA_UIE or I again. And thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for hanging out. And until the next one, everybody, like I said, if you saw the plugins, please do consider following those plugins and joining me live on Twitch. Other things to wrap up is, of course, keep an eye on your sponsors. You want sponsors that not only lower your payments per race, but you also want to try to gain sponsors that can give you some upfront money for development and stuff. But, that's something to talk about in a future video about financial management and stuff like that. But with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you for stopping by and hanging out. If we could get this video, like I said, to 10 likes, that'd be amazing. But with that being said, until the next one, everybody, this is FAI or I signing out and saying farewell, everyone.